Does your child seem to get sick every few months or so? Hey y'all, I'm Dr. Venn, your no BS chiropractor. Getting sick that often is not normal, and it is not just part of childhood. We're going to talk about 3 things here today that you can do, action steps that will help your child to get sick less often. The first thing you got to understand though is the concept of being sick. It's not just about what they're exposed to. So many people get so hung up on what virus is going around and who they've come in contact with and things like that. The problem with that, though, is just because you come in contact with a virus or a sickness doesn't mean that you're going to get sick. If you got sick 100% of the time, well, then yes, then the answer would be what bug is it that's going around? But if you only got sick, we'll say 1 out of every 10 times or even less that you're exposed to a certain virus, well, then it's not the virus, it's you. And so the question is, what can we do to build our immune system, or in this case, our child's immune system, so that they simply get sick less often? Their body is more resilient to being exposed to sickness, so that it's not that they're not going to be exposed, but they won't necessarily get sick, or at least nearly as often. So number 1, nutrition. The idea is we want to look at, are they getting too much of bad things? There was a study done where they measured the markers of the immune system, and they had somebody literally lick just a little bit on a teaspoon of sugar, and that little bit of sugar drastically reduced the strength of the immune system when they retested right after that. So limiting a kid's sugar and processed foods is probably the number 1 easiest thing that we can do. They don't have to be perfect. It doesn't mean they can never have a snack or a treat or a dessert. But what I do see, unfortunately, and this is not judging, but when I go to my son's lunch at school, a lot of the kids, their whole lunch is sugar and processed food. They literally get no nutrition. That should be saved for a special occasion, maybe once a week. Use it as a dessert, but it should not be the whole meal. Now, again, I'm not judging, but I have to point out the obvious that a lot of times it's those kids that are getting sick so much more often, because they're simply getting too much of things that are directly affecting the strength of the immune system. Sugar and processed carbs will negatively affect it and make a person's resilience weaker. Number 2, still nutrition, but in this case, not so much talking about eating too much of something. Are they getting enough of certain things? So if children are deficient in certain nutrients, again, it will take their immune system from being very strong to much weaker very quickly. So number 1 is vitamin D. They have to have enough vitamin D in their system. Sun will give some of that. Diet has to provide the rest. Most kids don't eat foods that have a lot of vitamin D. So a vitamin D supplement is a very good idea, even for a child. So that's number 1. Zinc is a common deficiency. Being low in zinc will affect the child's immune system. Even magnesium can indirectly affect the immune system, as it'll have a huge impact in their sleep. So deficiencies can also play into a child's recurring sickness or viral infections they may have. The last thing, and this is personal experience, but it is now highly researched, getting a chiropractic adjustment actually boosts the immune system. So what I see in practice is we have a lot of patients that come in, and I may see part of the family. So I'll see some of the kids and maybe one of the adults, but usually not the whole family. Invariably what happens almost every time though, if a sickness, quote, goes through the family and everybody gets sick, well, guess who doesn't get sick? Most of the time, it's the ones that are getting adjusted on a regular basis that don't get sick, or at least not nearly as often. Now, we can go round and round about the science behind that, and I could try to explain it, but the reality of it is I've seen that hundreds of times. And so simply getting a chiropractic adjustment and keeping the spine healthy, because the nerves control every part of our body. If your nervous system is working at a healthier level, well, then your body's healthier. You're more resilient. You're stronger. You're less likely to get sick. We can't prevent everything, but we can prevent a lot of things. So those 3 concepts I would say are critically important. Number 1, make sure that your kids are not eating too much bad stuff. That will depress the immune system. Number 2, make sure that they have enough of all the right nutrients so their body can be as strong and resilient as possible. And number 3, get a chiropractic adjustment. Have them be adjusted on some kind of a regular basis so that their nerves can communicate properly between their brain and their body so that their body can simply work better. I really do hope this helps. I notice so often that my kids' friends get sick so often, and my kids simply don't. And it doesn't mean they never get sick. They do get sick at times, but not nearly as often as what I see commonly at their school. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to address anything that I can help you with. I hope this helps.